Gracious God, take our minds and think through them, take our hands and work through them, take our hearts and set them on fire. Amen. Amen. Please be seated. Today we celebrate the feast day of Matthias the Apostle, and I kid you not that on one of the lectionary pages that I searched for information about him, all it says is that after Jesus' ascension, he was chosen as a replacement for Judas and was numbered as one of the 12. That's it. That's really all we know about him. I feel sure that he lived a faithful life and engaged in really good ministry, but we just don't have any record of that. That didn't stop the church, however, from picking a banger of a gospel reading for his feast day, and for that I give thanks. And I want to start by asking you this question. What does the word joy mean to you? That's not rhetorical, like I want to hear. To practice? A practice of joy. What else?
Bubbling exuberance.
Bubbling exuberance.
My kids' laughter.
My kids' laughter. Deep contentment. Ooh, the gift of delight.
Strength and fuel, like from the verse, the joy of the Lord is your strength. So it means it's actual strength.
Strength and fuel from the verse, the strength of the, the strength,
Joy of the Lord.
The joy of the Lord is strength. Anyone else? Yes. Something that always surprises me when it arises. These are awesome. Let's put a pin in those. We're going to come back to them. But I want to turn to today's gospel. Today's reading comes from that section of Jesus' farewell discourse to the disciples in John's gospel. It encompasses 4 chapters, and it shows Jesus on that last night with his friends, offering them both final teachings and words of comfort as preparation for everything that was about to happen: the cross, the tomb, the resurrection, and the ascension. In short, these verses we just read are an exploration of Jesus' teachings about living in intimacy with God. Building on verses 2 through 5, which for whatever reason our passage for Matthias skipped, in which Jesus casts himself as the vine and the disciples as the vine's fruitful branches, in today's gospel reading, Jesus elaborates on just what sort of fruit he has in mind that the disciples should be bearing. What one biblical commentary I perused through identifies as this idea of works of love for the sake of joy. Now, joy then is the interpretive key to that great commandment. Jesus says, I have said these things to you so that my joy may be in you and your joy may be complete. And that comes immediately before he says, this is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. We don't often read these back to back. We break them apart, but joy is the key to the great commandment. It is the foundation of and the context for that love that we are commanded to live. It would be nice then if joy was a more definitive concept. As just illustrated, you guys have lots of different ways of thinking about it. But just as love is a complex word to wrangle into just one meaning, joy can also take on many meanings. So, to what shall this complete joy that Jesus envisions be compared to? A little bit later in this farewell discourse in John's Gospel, Jesus compares it to childbirth. Does that surprise you? When a woman is in labor, she has pain because her hour has come. But when her child is born, she no longer remembers the anguish because of the joy of having brought a human being into the world. So you have pain now, but I will see you again, and your hearts will rejoice, and no one will take your joy from you. John chapter 16, verses 21 and 22. The joy we are called into then is like the joy of birthing, strong and creative, exhausted and exuberant, a joy that is no stranger to anguish, and above all, the joy of having brought new life into the world. As one biblical scholar puts it, it is not a stretch to say that every Christian disciple is a mother or a midwife. Joy is the for what of God's love. Love not as sentiment, but love as theological virtue, as an action, not merely some feeling. Taken all together then, our calling of works of love for the sake of joy point us towards this ministry of birthing and midwifing God's love into a world that desperately needs God's love and compassion and healing and justice and reconciliation. We do this in so many ways. We do it through cultivating one-on-one relationships with those around us, through acts of service to those in need, and by working to change the systems that benefit a few and harm the rest. Some works of love bring quick transformation. Their labor is nearly painless. And others take us longer and carry us through deep pain before shoots of new life appear. And here's the thing, we don't get to choose the work that we're called into. We only get to choose whether or not to follow the commandment to love. But when we do that and follow that commandment, the end result is always the same. The birth of joy with God's kingdom come closer by just a little bit. All of this makes me think of one of my favorite quotes from theologian Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. Joy is the most infallible sign of the presence of God. Joy is the most infallible sign of the presence of God, and whenever we experience joy, we can know that God is near. So it is that when we do the work of birthing joy into the world, we can be assured that God is present and laboring alongside us. This was the promise that Jesus made to his friends as he prepared them to face what was to come: the cross, the tomb, the resurrection, and the ascension, and then to continue on somehow without him. And it's a promise to us as well, a reminder that in the darkest of days, joy is not a betrayal, it is essential, and it is a sign of God. As we face the terrors of the world around us today, I pray that we may rejoice in this promise, and that we will answer the call to bear fruit and do works of love for the sake of joy. For it is in following these commandments that we can transform the world, and we can help to usher in God's reign. In the time of reflection to follow, I just invite you to think more deeply about where joy shows up in your life and how it is that you are birthing joy to those around you. Amen.